Imagine a storm so deadly that it stretched from Mexico to Canada, bringing an entire continent to its knees. A storm that claimed 137 lives, plunged millions into darkness, and trapped thousands in an icy nightmare. This isn't a movie plot. This is the terrifying reality of January 2026's Winter Storm Fern, one of the most catastrophic weather events in modern American history. When dawn broke on January 23, 2026, Americans across the heartland had no idea they were about to face one of the greatest tests of survival in recent memory. Meteorologists called it potentially historic, and they weren't exaggerating. Born from a stretched polar vortex over the Pacific Ocean, this monster storm would carve a path of destruction across nearly 2,000 miles of North America, leaving devastation in its wake. The storm began its deadly march through Texas and Oklahoma, where freezing rain turned roads into ice rinks within hours. What started as innocent raindrops quickly transformed into a frozen nightmare. In Little Rock, Arkansas, 6 inches of snow fell, a record not seen since 1899. But this was just the beginning. The real horror unfolded in Texas. In Frisco, 2 16-year-old girls were enjoying what should have been innocent winter fun, sledding while being pulled by a car. In an instant, tragedy struck. They crashed into a tree at full speed. Both died immediately. In Bonham, 3 young brothers, ages 6, 8, and 9, ventured onto a frozen pond. The ice looked solid, inviting them to play, but beneath the surface, it was dangerously thin. All 3 boys fell through and drowned in that frozen grave. These weren't just accidents. They were the first casualties of a disaster that would consume the entire nation. As the storm pushed eastward, Tennessee's capital city, Nashville, experienced record-breaking precipitation, 1.92 inches in a single day. But this wasn't ordinary rain. It was freezing rain that turned everything it touched into solid ice. Trees snapped under the weight. Power lines collapsed like dominoes. 230,000 homes went dark. Nashville Electric Service reported it was the largest power outage in their entire history. People had no electricity, no heat, and the outside temperatures made venturing out potentially fatal. Louisiana and Mississippi faced something even more sinister, a devastating ice storm. Ice accumulated up to 1 inch thick, coating everything in sight. Trees, roads, homes, vehicles, all encased in a crystalline prison. Over 500,000 customers lost power through Entergy alone. Governor Jeff Landry surveyed the damage by helicopter and described scenes that looked like a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Entire cities transformed into frozen sculptures. In Mississippi, a 73-year-old man sat in his mobile home when a massive tree, unable to bear the weight of accumulated ice, crashed down on his residence. Death was instant. A 66-year-old woman in Jackson succumbed to hypothermia when her home lost power and temperatures plummeted. In DeSoto Parish, 2 people died from carbon monoxide poisoning after running heaters indoors without proper ventilation, desperately trying to stay warm. By the time the storm reached New York and Pennsylvania, it had transformed into a powerful nor'easter, a coastal storm system that draws energy from the Atlantic Ocean. Central Park in New York City recorded 11.4 inches of snow, the highest accumulation in 5 years. LaGuardia Airport shut down completely. NJ Transit and Nike's Ferry suspended all operations. Cars became buried under snowdrifts. The city that never sleeps was forced into hibernation. In Pennsylvania's Lehigh County, 3 elderly residents suffered fatal heart attacks while shoveling snow outside their homes. The physical strain combined with frigid temperatures proved too much for their hearts. In Verona, New Jersey, a 67-year-old man collapsed and died in his driveway, shovel still in hand. These deaths highlighted a grim reality. Sometimes the storm's aftermath proves just as deadly as the storm itself. Massachusetts witnessed perhaps the most tragic accident of all. A woman was walking with her husband along a snow-covered road in Norwood when a snowplow truck struck her. She died at the scene. The driver never saw her through the blinding snow and darkness. Maine experienced its own unique horror. At Bangor International Airport, a Bombardier Challenger 650 attempted takeoff during treacherous conditions. The combination of icy runways and powerful crosswinds proved catastrophic. The aircraft crashed during takeoff. All 6 people aboard were killed instantly. The investigation continues, but weather was undoubtedly a major factor. The devastation wasn't confined to the United States. Canada's largest airport, Toronto Pearson International, recorded its heaviest single-day snowfall since records began in 1937, an astonishing 46 centimeters in just 24 hours. Over 560 flights were canceled. Schools, universities, and government offices closed across the entire Greater Toronto area. In Montreal, 2 women died from extreme cold during a power outage that left them without heat in sub-zero temperatures. The numbers paint a chilling picture of destruction. Over 11,000 flights were canceled on January 25th alone, making it the worst day for flight cancellations since March 30th, 2020. At the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, more than 1 million customers lost electrical power. 24 state governors declared states of emergency. Winter weather alerts covered a 2,000-mile stretch affecting 230 million people, nearly 2/3 of the entire U.S. population. When Winter Storm Fern finally dissipated on January 30th, the final toll was staggering. 137 confirmed deaths across 13 states and 2 Canadian provinces. Over 1 million homes and businesses without power. More than 20,000 canceled flights. Preliminary damage estimates exceeded $1 billion. Entire communities remained paralyzed for days, some for weeks. This wasn't just a weather event. It was a wake-up call. Winter Storm Fern exposed the fragility of our infrastructure and our vulnerability to extreme weather. Climate scientists warn that as global temperatures continue to rise, these polar vortex disruptions will become more frequent and more severe. The stretched polar vortex that spawned Fern is a direct consequence of warming Arctic temperatures, disrupting normal atmospheric patterns. Winter Storm Fern taught us that nature's fury knows no boundaries. It reminded us that despite all our technological advances, we remain humbled by the raw power of the elements. And most importantly, it warned us that the storms of tomorrow may be even more deadly than those of today. This was Winter Storm Fern, a chapter in history written in ice and blood, a reminder that nature always has the final word.